Greatness is not an accident, nor is it reserved for a chosen few. It is the natural outcome of living in alignment with the systems the Creator has placed within you. Every human being has been gifted with a brain capable of remarkable focus, creativity, resilience, and wisdom. And wisdom. Yet most drift through life unaware of the extraordinary potential resting between their ears, treating the mind as something fixed rather than a living, changing creation that can be trained and refined. Dopamine is often misunderstood as a pleasure chemical, but in reality, it is the molecule of motivation, the signal that tells your brain this is worth pursuing. Every great achievement, every step towards excellence is carried on the wave of this powerful neurochemical. Yet most people live as if dopamine is outside their control like the wind in the desert. Sometimes it blows their way, sometimes it doesn't. The truth is, God has designed the human brain with systems that can be trained, guided, and elevated. Just as the body can be strengthened through disciplined exercise, the reward circuits of the brain can be tuned to consistently push you forward toward what is right, meaningful, and lasting. The first key to harnessing dopamine is understanding that it operates not in the reward itself, but in the anticipation of the reward. It is the energy you feel when you're reaching for something, not when you've already grabbed it. This is why so many lose momentum after achieving a goal. They confuse the celebration for the source. Instead, you must learn to find joy in the pursuit, to connect the process itself to your deepest values. When the effort is tied to your purpose, the brain releases dopamine in steady streams, turning hard work into a source of fulfillment rather than exhaustion. Modern distractions hijack this system. Social media, constant entertainment, sugary foods, they give quick spikes of dopamine followed by a crash, leaving the brain restless and craving more. This is like pouring fuel on a fire that burns out in seconds. Greatness requires the opposite. Slow, sustained release. You do this by delaying gratification, by stretching the time between effort and reward, by making the pursuit itself a reward. When you read sacred scripture, not just to check off a habit, but to connect with the Creator, the brain begins to link that practice with deep, lasting satisfaction. When you rise early, pray, and prepare your day with intention, your brain learns that discipline itself is a reward. Over time, this rewires the circuits so that self-control and focus feel as natural as breathing. Another powerful way to engage dopamine in a righteous and sustainable way is to set goals that are just beyond your current reach, not so easy they bore you, not so impossible they break you. Each small victory sends a signal to your brain. You are moving forward. Keep going. The prophet said that Allah loves the deeds that are consistent, even if they are small. This is the divine blueprint for harnessing dopamine. It's not in the size of the act, but in the steady climb towards something higher. And when your climb is tied to service, to bringing benefit to others, to fulfilling the trust placed in you, your brain floods with the type of dopamine that strengthens, not weakens. In this way, you rise above fleeting pleasures and step into a cycle of motivation that does not fade with time, because it is rooted in both the biology of the brain and the eternal call of the soul train, focused through deliberate neuroplasticity by understanding that your brain is not fixed. It is constantly rewiring itself based on what you repeatedly do and where you repeatedly place your attention. Every time you focus deeply, without distraction, on a task that matters, you are strengthening the neural pathways responsible for concentration, clarity, and problem solving. This is not just mental effort. It is a physical shaping of your brain's architecture. Just as a path in the desert becomes clearer, the more footsteps tread it, your neural pathways become more defined the more you walk them with intention. And the one who created the brain gave us the power to direct this rewiring through our choices. Deliberate neuroplasticity means you don't leave your focus to chance. You train it like a muscle. This begins with creating windows of deep, undisturbed work, periods where you remove noise, silence your devices, and give your mind fully to the task at hand. In those moments, you are sending a powerful signal to your nervous system. This is important. Strengthen this circuit. Over time, distractions lose their grip because the brain learns that sustained attention brings greater reward than scattered thinking. This is the discipline of the people who achieve greatness. Those who can lock onto what matters, ignoring the whispers of distraction until the work is done. Spiritually, this mirrors the way we are called to focus in prayer. In Sala, you align body, mind, and soul toward a single direction, shutting out the noise of the world for the sake of the one who gave you life. Training not just your spirit, but your brain. If you can hold attention in worship, you can hold attention in your studies, your work, your craft. The same neural mechanisms are at play. The same reward systems are being shaped. The more you practice this alignment, whether in devotion, learning, or building something valuable, the more your brain becomes wired for excellence. It is also essential to pair focus training with intentional rest. Walking outside, observing nature, and practicing stillness are not wasted time. They are the moments when your nervous system consolidates what you've learned. Just as a farmer does not plant every hour of the day, but allows the soil to rest so it can bear more fruit, you must balance intensity with renewal. In both science and scripture, we find this pattern of work and rest, day and night, effort and pause, because is the natural rhythm for growth. When you honor this design, your brain becomes not just a vessel for fleeting thoughts, but a precise instrument for sustained greatness, tuned daily by the choices you make, and the one who guides them. Use Ultradian rhythms to maximize productivity by recognizing that the brain does not work in a flat, constant line of energy throughout the day. Instead, it moves in natural cycles, periods of high focus and performance, followed by phases where the mind and body signal for rest and recovery. These cycles, known as Ultradian rhythms, typically last about 90 minutes, and they are one of the creator's built-in systems for balancing output and renewal. When you align your work with these rhythms instead of fighting them, you stop wasting energy and start multiplying results. In the peak phase of an ultradian cycle, your brain is flooded with neurotransmitters like acetylcholine and norepinephrine, which sharpen focus, enhance learning, and speed up problem solving. This is the time to tackle your most challenging, creative, or high-value tasks. But this window does not stay open forever. After about an hour and a half, your body begins to shift toward recovery, signaled by subtle changes. Restlessness, yawning, mind wandering, or a dip in performance. Most people ignore these signals and push harder, relying on caffeine or sheer willpower. But this only drains the system, leading to burnout and mistakes. The wise approach is to step into a short recovery period, and the minutes of stepping away, moving the body, hydrating, praying, or simply closing the eyes to let the nervous system reset. Spiritually, these rhythms remind us that even in acts of worship, there is balance. Times of standing in prayer and times of sitting in reflection, moments of intense remembrance and moments of quiet gratitude. Allah, in His wisdom, did not design us to be in constant exertion without pause. He patterned day and night, fasting and eating, work and rest, to show us that renewal is part of greatness. By respecting these cycles, we are not slowing down our progress. We are ensuring that we can sustain it over the long journey. When you begin to work in harmony with ultradian rhythms, your days take on a powerful structure. Intense, undistracted bursts of effort, followed by short, intentional breaks that restore mental clarity and physical energy. This not only sharpens your focus, but also increases the joy you find in the work itself. The brain starts to associate effort with satisfaction rather than fatigue, because you are no longer draining it to the point of collapse. In this way, productivity becomes less about pushing endlessly and more about moving with the natural currents the Almighty placed within your biology, currents designed to carry you toward your highest potential without breaking you along the way. Optimize sleep for memory consolidation and the recovery. By understanding that sleep is not a passive state, but one of the most active and essential processes your brain and body undergo each day. While the world is quiet and your eyes are closed, an intricate system is at work. Neurons replaying patterns from the day, strengthening the connections that matter and pruning away the ones that don't. This is memory consolidation, the brain's way of deciding what stays and what fades. Without it, knowledge slips away, skills weaken, and the clarity you need for peak performance is lost. The Creator designed this process with precision, weaving it into our natural cycle of night and day, so that rest is not just permitted, but commanded as part of the rhythm of life. During deep sleep, your body releases growth hormone, repairing muscles, tissues, and even the cells of your immune system. In rapid eye movement, REM sleep, your brain integrates emotions, creativity, and problem solving, making connections you couldn't make while awake. Or this means that skipping sleep or treating it as a negotiable luxury is not only robbing you of energy, it is cutting off the very foundation of learning resilience and emotional balance. Sleep is not a distraction from greatness. It is one of its pillars. Spiritually, we are reminded that night was made for rest and reflection, a time when the world falls silent and the soul turns inward. The Quran speaks of the night as both a covering and a time to seek closeness to the one who created it. In the stillness, your body regains its strength, and your mind prepares for another day of service and striving. Even acts of devotion in the later part of the night are built upon the restoration that comes from earlier sleep, showing that rest and worship are not enemies, but allies in the pursuit of excellence. To optimize this divine gift, you must align with the signals your body was designed to follow. Seek morning sunlight to set your circadian clock. Avoid bright artificial light in the hours before bed and create a space free of unnecessary noise and distraction. Approach the end of your day with a sense of winding down, leaving aside the noise of the world so that the nervous system can shift into its restorative mode. In doing so, you protect the integrity of your memory, your mood, and your ability to think clearly when it matters most. Over time, this consistency builds a mental and physical foundation so strong that your waking hours are sharper, your decisions wiser, and your actions more deliberate. Well, all because you honored the sacred cycle of rest and renewal regulate stress using controlled breathing and visual anchors by recognizing that your mind and body are deeply connected through the nervous system. And that stress is not simply an emotion. It is a full body state driven by electrical and chemical signals. In moments of pressure, your heart races, breathing shortens, and vision narrows, preparing you for action. This is a survival gift from the Creator, but in the modern world, where threats are often mental rather than physical, this same system can work against you, trapping you in cycles of tension and anxiety. The key is learning how to take control of the body's signals so that they no longer dictate your state, but serve it. Controlled breathing is one of the most powerful tools for doing this. When you deliberately slow and deepen your breath, especially with patterns like the physiological sigh, where you take 2 quick inhales followed by a slow exhale, you send a direct message to your nervous system. You are safe, you can calm down. This isn't wishful thinking, it's biology. It's biology. The nerves in your lungs and diaphragm communicate with the brainstem, which in turn shifts the body from the fight or flight mode into a state of balance and clarity. Practice regularly. This rewires your stress response so that instead of spiraling into panic, you can meet challenges with composure and control. Visual anchors work alongside this by expanding your field of vision. When you are stressed, your vision tightens, focusing on a narrow point, which signals the brain to stay on high alert. By consciously broadening your gaze, looking to the horizon, or allowing your eyes to take in more of your surroundings, you tap into the parasympathetic system, the body's natural brake, which slows the heart and eases the mind. This is why standing in nature, looking at the sky, or even gazing out over water can have such a profound calming effect. It tells the brain the threat has passed. Spiritually, these tools mirror the guidance to pause, breathe, and remember your purpose when facing trials. The Quran reminds us to seek help through patience and prayer, and both begin with the discipline of slowing down the self before acting. In prayer, you control your breath, you direct your gaze to a fixed point, and you anchor your mind in the remembrance of the one who governs all outcomes. This is not only worship, it is also training your nervous system to return to balance under pressure. When you master controlled breathing and visual anchoring, you are no longer a prisoner to the waves of stress. Instead, you become the captain of your inner state, able to shift from chaos to clarity in moments. This allows you to face not only the battles of the day, but also the greater mission of life with a heart that is steady, a mind that is sharp, and a spirit that is unshaken. Fuel brain performance with targeted nutrition and light exposure by understanding that your mind is not powered by willpower alone. It is fueled by the energy and signals your body receives every single day. Every thought you think, every decision you make, every moment of focus or clarity depends on the nutrients and environmental cues your brain is given and into. The Creator designed the human body with precision, requiring specific elements from the earth and the environment to sustain peak mental function. If you feed your body poorly or deprive it of natural light, you are not just neglecting your health. You are dimming the very system that drives your purpose and potential. The brain runs primarily on glucose, but not all sources of energy are equal. Processed sugars spike and crash your blood levels, leaving your mind foggy and your mood unstable. In contrast, whole foods, fruits, vegetables, healthy fats, lean proteins provide a steady release of fuel that keeps your neurons firing at full capacity. Omega-3 fatty acids from sources like fish and nuts help build and maintain the fatty sheaths around neurons, ensuring faster, clearer communication between brain cells. Micronutrients like magnesium, zinc, and B vitamins act like co-pilots in the chemical reactions that produce neurotransmitters, the very messengers of thought and emotion. When your diet is deficient in these, your brain is forced to operate on a lower gear, no matter how hard you try to focus. Light exposure is just as vital. Sunlight in the early part of the day tells your circadian clock when to start its cycle, setting off hormonal cascades that boost alertness, elevate mood, and prepare you for peak performance. Without this signal, your internal rhythms drift, making you sluggish in the morning and restless at night. Artificial light cannot fully replace the spectrum and intensity of natural sunlight, which is why even a short walk outside after dawn can transform your energy and clarity for the entire day. In the same way, dimming lights in the evening tells your brain it's time to wind down, aligning your sleep and wake cycles with the pattern woven into creation itself. Spiritually, this balance of nourishment and light mirrors the way the soul is fed and guided. Just as the body needs pure sustenance, the soul needs truth and remembrance to stay strong. And just as the body needs light to orient its rhythms, the heart needs guidance to stay on the straight path. Neglect either and you drift into confusion. Honor both and you align with the design set for you. When you make deliberate choices about what you eat and how you expose yourself to light, you are not merely adjusting lifestyle habits. You are tuning the instrument of your mind for greatness. A brain that is well-fed and properly timed with the cycles of day and night becomes sharper, faster, and more resilient, ready to meet challenges with energy and insight, fulfilling the mission it was created for with power and clarity.